Great, Russ. Thank you. Thank you. Sarah, happy to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited.
So as Russ mentioned, my name's Dave Patrick. I'm an MVP. I'm also a subject matter expert at DSA. Sarah, what do you do?
So I'm a student at the University of Maryland, College Park. It's my second year. I study information science, where I'm also a student ambassador for the program. And I also have a minor in business analytics.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
So we want to thank our sponsors. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. So we really appreciate these guys coming together and providing the support. Webcon, Microsoft, Extranet, User Manager, Excel, Java. I mean, these guys, they make this possible. So thanks to those guys. We really appreciate it. So what is this Train the Trainer workshop about? This TechGirlz team workshop. What we hope to accomplish in today's session is to talk about a couple of things. One, what is TechGirlz, a volunteer operation that helps girls be inspired in STEM? What is the Teams workshop? It's a workshop that we developed, my company DSA, along with Sarah, to help girls learn collaboration using a tool like Teams. So let me let Sarah tell you a little bit more about TechGirlz.
So TechGirlz is a nonprofit organization dedicated to reducing the gender gap and helping younger girls have that spark and interest in STEM, more specifically tech. So there's a bunch of studies on that young girls, they start getting interested in STEM in middle school, but once they get past that age, start getting to high school, that's when their interest starts to decline. It's because of lack of mentors, lack of real life examples, and a couple other issues. So TechGirlz really wants to target that perfect age, like middle school, a little bit younger, a little bit older, to get them realizing like, oh, tech really is awesome, and encourage them that if that is their interest, they should totally pursue it.
Yes, absolutely. What do we do? So we use these Tech Shop in a Box. TechGirlz provides us this curriculum, these workshops that we can take, and it's basically how to do things, right? How to build these curriculums. They have a bunch of them. What are some of the ones that they have, Sarah?
So here are a couple of examples. So some that we've done is news story production. We'll talk about these a little bit more in depth in a second. Program with Kodu. There's a lot of them, and as you can see here, indicated by the stars, is the level of difficulty. So if you're expecting like a younger audience, or maybe it's your first time, so maybe you don't have as much experience with tech, doing a 1-star workshop is probably better. But then we have 3-star ones too that are more advanced, and it's really nice because TechGirlz provides you a slide deck, a packet of like how to run the workshop step by step. It gives you all the materials.
Yeah, it's a great way to get started without a lot of effort on your part. Or you can volunteer. So that you can go to www.techgirlz.org/volunteer. Remember that, that'll be important later. And sign up for, so people are already running. My company runs a bunch of workshops. Other companies run a bunch of workshops. You can find, and now they're all going virtual due to the situation. You can find one and say, hey, I want to help out. I want to be a mentor. I want to be a fly on the wall that just helps girls when they run into issues. Maybe you want to speak at one of these. Sarah actually spoke at our first one a long time ago. So we hope what we show you today will get you interested and consider volunteering for TechGirlz. So let me talk a little bit about our team. So this is our team. There's Sarah up in the corner. She's hiding up there, looking all, very excited to be there. There's me hiding down in the bottom. This was 4 years ago, back in April 2016.
Yes.
And we said, we weren't really sure what we were doing. What did we got ourselves into? We did buy a lot of cool T-shirts. But we wanted these girls to learn how to, what was the first workshop, Sarah?
So our first workshop was creating a website with WordPress.
Oh, yes.
And honestly, I had a big concern because the places we went to were the Boys and Girls Club of Harford County.
Oh, right.
And this is kind of where they go after school and like hang out, do fun things. So I was worried that this was going to be a little bit too much like school, like another class, like homework kind of thing. So I was prepping for this and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how they're going to like it. I don't know what to expect. And I made an example website about cats because I was like, I like cats. Younger kids probably like cats or animals. So we get there and they were so excited. They were zooming through the content, asking me questions about things I hadn't covered yet because they were later in the slideshow. I was like, we haven't gotten there yet. And they were doing topics on like social injustice, or passion for music, like things I did not expect from these young girls.
We learned a lot from them. It was surprising how much we learned from them when we thought we were going to teach them. We did some other workshops We did one on what's in a computer.
Oh, yes.
That was a crazy one. That one where the girls got to actually take apart computers. And one of the lessons we learned, the very first lesson we learned, was not to use computers that we thought we could use the next day. The first workshop we used.
They love ripping them apart, but can they put them back together?
That was a little challenging. So after that, we used old computers.
Yes.
And they took out the hard drives. They took out the fan. They took out the CPU.
And I forgot about this. They were so excited that we had to make a rule that as soon as they found the piece we were talking about, they had to put the lid back on.
That's right.
Because
right.
they would just want to look for all the pieces.
And what's funny is I teach at University of Maryland, where you go to school at, and some of my adult students haven't seen what's inside of a computer. Mm-hmm. So it's really, this was a special opportunity for anyone to see what makes up a computer. It was, they were excited. This is another picture. I mean, just to show you how in depth they were. With
all their arms are in there.
It's funny because they started off and they were like, "Can we get electrocuted?" They had all these concerns, mm-hmm. But then once they got comfortable, you can see they had no fear.
Right.
What's another workshop that we did?
So we wanted to touch on a couple other workshops that use Microsoft technology since it is Microsoft Teams Day. So first one is Game Design with Kodu, which is from Microsoft. Great thing about it is it's free and it's a UI driven programming. So I found this to be really great to be an introduction to coding and programming, and also it's a game, so it makes it really fun for the girls. So what do you mean by introduction to programming? What is Kodu really? So you can see in this picture here that it's block coding. So it's little pictures kind of saying these simple actions, and we actually demonstrated how to do programming and how computers really need every single step of how to do things by pretending that my dad was like a dummy robot and they had to tell him how to get from one corner in a room to the other corner. So it's things like if they said walk forward, he would just keep walking forward and like hit into the wall.
Yeah, they like that. They like that a little too much.
Right, yeah. But as soon as they figured out that they had to be very specific, they called it real quick. Some girls were like, take 4.5 steps forward. Things
Turn
like
90
that.
degrees. I was
right.
Like, oh, all right.
They were into it. But yeah, it was a really great introduction of how to do each step to get programming. And like I said before, it's a game, so it was really fun for them to make their own game. And lastly, with Kodu, they have these preloaded worlds, so girls can explore what kind of capabilities they can have, play games that are already in the program, and the worlds that they make, they can also make available for other people to see.
So what else did we do? We did Kodu. They love the Kodu.
Yes.
We did the news story production one. Mm-hmm. This was cool. Now, when if you go to TechGirlz.org and you look at some of their workshops and look at the curriculum they give you, sometimes the technology is something you may not be familiar with, which is fine. But we, being a Microsoft Gold partner, DSA, we wanted to focus on the Microsoft technologies that we had available to us. So we took their news story production, which used, I forget what that would solve, some open source software, and we said, you know what, we're going to use Office 365. And I'm going to talk in a minute about a couple of ways you can get that for free. But why did we use Office 365? It was easy to learn. We were also giving them real world skills. And we came up with an activity where the girls got to interview each other and got to talk about themselves and write about themselves. Did they like that?
They loved it because they're always there with their little friends.
Oh my gosh.
And they love to talk about themselves and things that they like. So that's all they got to do the whole time.
And I mean, it was funny because they're having this blast and then they're typing in and they're learning Office 365 and didn't even realize it. That was really cool. Mm-hmm. So I mentioned, how can you get Office 365 for free? Well, if you're into K-12, if you're in university, if you got a .edu email address, Microsoft makes it available for free to many of these academic institutions. You can always sign up for a free trial and get it for 90 days or whatever the free trial is. If you're a nonprofit, if you're a certified nonprofit, there's a nonprofit offer that Microsoft makes to you guys. And this is my favorite. As a developer, you can sign up for the Office Developer Program and get your own 5-user tenant for developing solutions. You don't have to write code. I'm not saying you have to be a coder, but if you're putting together solutions, and there's a lot of low code, no code solutions out there nowadays, sign up for a developer tenant. I make all my students sign up for the developer tenant, and I give them little low code projects to do, and they love it. So lots of different ways to get Office 365 for free to use with a TechGirlz workshop. Now, we did one with Visual Studio Code. This was an interesting one. Again, Visual Studio Code was free. The girls found this really easy. They really picked up. What are some of the reasons they liked Visual Studio Code so much?
Yeah, so we were a little bit concerned doing a more technical workshop, which this one was, because we were teaching them HTML and CSS, and unlike Odoo, that has the syntax and all the code, the things you have to remember. But Visual Studio Code is really awesome because it has the colors to kind of differentiate the different syntax, has IntelliSense, like I said, color coding, and it was really easy to deploy whatever they were working on. Just save as HTML file, deploy it in a web browser, and they can see what kind of website they were starting to work on. So we went over the basic skills of like creating a header, paragraph, how to put in a picture, and then the CSS styles as well, colors, fonts, things like that.
And it came in really handy because a year ago, March 28th, I think it was, TechGirlz organization issued a challenge to all the volunteer organizations. They said, hey, we want to set a world record for the most girls coding at once. We called it #CodeBreakers. And we used Visual Studio for our workshop, and we actually had 340 so girls coding at once. It was international, right? We had folks from all across the United States.
Yeah, and there's a couple international
like Colombia,
well.
maybe Brazil. It was amazing. If you guys are interested, go Bing Codebreakers and see the videos that we put out. It just shows how excited these girls got with working with the technology. So we're planning some future workshops. We're actually going to talk in a few minutes and give you a little demo of the Microsoft Teams workshop that we developed and that we're going to put into the TechGirlz repository so everyone can use. We're also coming up with one called Power Apps, or one based on Power Apps. You guys may have heard of that. It's a little popular nowadays. Power Apps, a gentleman named Rory Neary, he's from the UK, I believe, came up with this a 10-minute dumb game. I believe he calls it Draughts and Knots or something like that, but basically it's tic-tac-toe. And so we're going to build on that and use his instructions and turn this into a Power Apps based Teams or TechGirlz workshop. So that's in development. That's coming soon. So look out for that. And if you do something like that, just like Office 365, there's an opportunity to get Power Apps for free. There's a Power Apps community plan that you can use to log in, and just you're not doing any production type work, but if you want to play around and work with it, great for like a workshop thing. So let's talk about Teams. You guys are watching this via Teams, so hopefully everyone's familiar with the basics. Obviously, we use it for chat. We use it for teamwork. We're going to dive a little bit into teamwork in the collaboration element of Teams. It's also customizable, so you can add different tabs. We added a Delve tab, so people can click on. They're in a team. They click on Delve, and they go to sort of the Delve page of different people. And unlike some other video conferencing tools that are out there and in the news and getting a hard time for their security lapse, Microsoft Teams security first. It's Microsoft, and they've built in security from the ground up, so we're not having those issues that maybe some of its competitors are having. I won't name them. So Sarah, give us an example of what we do in the workshops.
Right. So Microsoft is really nice and provides a little Teams demo for you to go step by step of all the navigations and then provide a simulation with other team members. So we're going to go to that, just teamsdemo.office.com, where it's the Microsoft Teams Interactive Demo. So let's get started. So first it talks about these tabs on the side for our overall navigation. This is where I'm going to get notifications under the activity tab, chats with either one person or smaller groups, Teams, which is the main tab we're going to talk about, scheduled meetings, files, and then other apps. So now under that Teams tab, this is where you can see all the teams you're in. So these are the ones that you've been added in by your other team, other people in your organization for other projects maybe you're working on, or the ones that you create yourself. That's what Teams is really all about, you making a team for whatever project you're working on. So this is where you differentiate those. Next, under each team, we have channels. So this is kind of how to differentiate the topics of whatever project you're working on. The default is general, but you can add some more channels to, like I said, differentiate what people are working on, what part of the project. So now under that channel, I'm going to look at the conversation, and you can see how it's already kind of simulating me receiving some messages.
Sarah, is this Teams, or this is a click-through demo?
Yes. So these are just simulation, like I said, And it notes here that these chats are threaded. So again, really good about sorting information. Even under this conversation, it's still being sorted. So this separate chat here is talking about these documents. And then this chat here is talking about the deadline being pushed back. So the replies can be sorted versus just a jumble of conversations. So like I pointed out here, there's files embedded into this message, and that's where I can click on it and view it and also edit it. Lastly, we have these tabs up here. The default is conversation, which is what we were looking at this whole time, and files. So the files that were sent in this chat, that's where it's stored. And really putting it through here is putting it on SharePoint.
What?
Touch on that?
Wait a minute. I thought it was Teams or SharePoint.
No, it's basically the same thing.
So Teams is just a front end of SharePoint?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Blown.
A lot of people don't know that. So it's really just stored in the cloud on SharePoint. And then these other ones here is what you can add for other applications that might be helpful to your team specifically. So now that we've kind of gone over the overall navigation, let's try it ourselves with some other simulation coworkers. So Emily here has added me to the team and people are welcoming me. Like I said before, that threaded chat, it's all about welcoming me to the team. So I'll respond back. Hi, everyone. It's going to mention this later, but this highlight of you is actually going to say your name instead. And it's just to note that they are mentioning you, so you'll get notifications for it. Now we can see that a new thread was made because now we're talking about this Excel spreadsheet. So they're asking us to look at it. So I'm going to click on it to view it. You can now see here on the right-hand side, I can still see the conversation. So we can talk about it live as I'm still viewing the document. So everyone's talking about design too, and they want my input. So I also like design too. So I will let them know. So that Emily says great, and she's going to send me a chat for what to do next. So now she's chatting me privately. So that's where I go to the chat tab to see our private conversation versus the conversation with the whole team. So now Emily wants me to let the social team know that we have a winner. So I'm going to tell her that I will get that done. So now that's done, I'm going to go check my other notifications to see who else has mentioned to me. Like I said before, that's where we get that little red @ icon because they typed my name, so I would get a notification here. I also get overall announcements for the team on this left side here. Lastly, to make the conversation a little bit more fun, I can add GIFs or GIFs. Sorry.
Which one is it?
I say GIFs.
I say GIFs.
GIF is the peanut butter.
Oh, you're right.
Anyway, we can add a little memes here for fun. I'll put woohoo because we got it done. And it'll send. So that's it. I think it's really awesome that Microsoft provides this demo because it's really easy and straightforward, gives you a good overview of how it works.
And it's cool because we let the girls do this during the workshop, and they can't quite break it yet, right? It gives them this safe environment to click through to find out where everything's at without doing anything disastrous.
Yes, it's very straightforward, and I didn't show you, but if I tried to click on other things, it wouldn't let me. It wants you to go through that demo.
Yes, it kind of, it's a great little click through, do these things. And again, if you guys want to use it yourself, there's the website. So a good little tip takeaway. So let's talk about our actual work, which is the TechGirlz collaboration with teams. So we teach them basically two things. We teach them what collaboration is and then how to do it with teams. So let's go to that workshop. And I'm actually going to switch over here to my other set of slides because this is the set of slides that when you go to TechGirlz and pick up the materials for any of the curriculums, one of the things you'll get is a set of slides. So you're not starting from scratch. And this is what we hope will be the set of slides that we will distribute to everyone. And so it starts with the collaboration or collaborating with Microsoft Teams title. That's where the girls are coming in and we're welcoming them. And we usually give them some cookies or something to kind of settle them down, which doesn't usually work. It usually gets them more excited. We talk about what collaboration actually is. We'll ask them for some of their ideas and we'll actually write them up on the board. And it's surprising. I mean, do you remember the last workshop? What were some of the things they said?
So a lot of them talked about sports that they played,
Right.
sports teams, even games where you work in teams to strategize to win, things like that.
Yeah, the one girl said soccer, and I was like, I never thought that playing on a soccer team is collaboration, but it is.
Yeah, for sure. Right. With this session, we really want to emphasize that, sure, they might know how to collaborate in some ways, like on the field or things like that, but now we're going to take it into like the work life.
Yes. So we get some of those ideas, then we give them sort of a hands-on. Now this one we're gonna have to work on because we're going virtual with this now. When we were doing these in person, we would actually give them a puzzle. We would actually take this picture over here and we have made it into a puzzle, and we would have all the girls take a piece or two, and they would stand around, and each girl had to put in a couple of pieces, and the other girls could help them, but they weren't allowed to take it and do it for them. And that way we were trying to enforce what collaboration is all about. So we'll have to figure out, we're still working on that one, how to virtualize that. Maybe a virtual puzzle. We'll have to think about that, where they take turns. Then we talk about, other ways of collaborating when specifically, and this is very timely, when you're not in the same place.
Yeah, it's funny. We developed this session a while ago. Little do we know, it's really can work for the time we're going through right now.
Right. I mean, how do you collaborate when you're at home and they're at home and they're at home? When we did this in person, we would separate them. We had different groups and we put one in one corner and one in another corner.
Yeah, simulating that they weren't together when they actually were.
And we tried to tell them don't talk to each other, which was a little difficult.
It's all new to them.
Yes. And that's what we did. So we said, now that you're in different places, corners, how do you communicate? The answer was Teams. And we would walk them through that demo that Sarah just showed, and they would learn, and they go, it's like chat. Some of them have used things like Slack and some of those other things, and they go, it's kind of like that. And we say, yeah, but there's more to it. Let me show you, especially the co-authoring that we're about to show. So we would give them a hands-on activity, which was really important. We wanted them to have something that was meaningful to them. And we wanted to select different roles for different people, right? So we set them up and we said, all right, we're going to have a group. And it was important that we use the word group. We learned the hard way that if we said, hey, you're on this team and you're using Microsoft Teams, now go to that team, it kind of got overloaded with the verbiage. So now we say, okay, you're in the entree group and you're in the sides group, and you're going to go to that team on Teams, but your group needs to work on entrees and your group needs to work on sides. So we had them in different groups. We put them in different locations, corners. We told them they were in different schools.
Yeah, so we gave them a scenario for something that they would relate to of something they were working on. So the idea we came up with was being a part of a school and figuring out the lunch menu for their school district.
Yeah, and they really got excited about that because that's something they could relate to. And they everyone likes food. We're all like, yeah, food.
Right.
And we told them their job is to now collaborate, to work together on one lunch menu and produce it as a team, which seems to have worked out really well. However, we don't want to make it too easy. Sarah, what were some of the rules that we threw at them?
Yeah, so we definitely had to make some rules and some guidelines so they weren't just going crazy, making all sweets and treats for the entire meal. We wanted it to be a realistic lunch menu. So we gave them some guidelines such as 2 entrees a day. One has to be vegetarian because we want options for everyone. Yeah. 2 sides. One has to be at least a fruit or vegetable because we want it to be healthy. At least 2 beverages, but no soda because, again, we want it to be healthy. Some desserts, but no nuts because allergy is a problem. Yeah. And then we had some kind of daily guidance or like a theme for each day. So some examples was no dairy Monday or nut-free Tuesday. So all the items for that day had to follow that theme.
Yeah, and when we gave us more guidelines, we said, look, as you build out each menu, make sure you're not stepping on someone else. If someone adds meatloaf, and you add meatloaf, you're going to have to use the chat to figure out which meatloaf you're going to go with. If or one of them's got to be vegetarian, so maybe put spaghetti with no meat. They had to work that out, and it was challenging. And then we took it a step further and said, you know what? We're going to have a superintendent come in and kind of rattle the cage and make additional rules. I remember one of the rules was we had the girls doing prices, and they had like $10 and $15 and $20, and we said, the superintendent says no items that are over $5. Oh, well, meatloaf is going to be more than that. We're going to have to kick meatloaf off and do hamburgers or something.
So this was to simulate in real life if you guys are working on something collaboratively and your boss throws a curveball last second.
That never happens.
Yeah, so you just have to adjust and figure it out. So that kind of thing, we thought it'd be fun to.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was the girls. It's the excitement level is crazy as we walk around and say, now you got to do. Wait, but we already had it. Nope, we're changing it on you.
Yep.
So we had to make a list of potential items for the menu. We start with paper because that's what they're familiar with, and then we take it into the teams, and we had them do put their items in the teams, and then we kind of walk them through their first entry, right? So these slides walks them through. It says, hey, here's what teams look like. We'll kind of zoom in on that and see what we're talking about, right? And we show them that we do some pre-setup. So we set up a food team. We set up some channels, one for the weekly menu. Bake sale we'll talk about in a minute. That's sort of our extra credit bonus round. We, of course, get the general one. So we show the girls some of the basics. We show them, even though they did it in the walkthrough, we show them again with the activity and the notifications. We walk through them, clicking onto that team, the food team. We talk about the different channels that again, this was all pre-set up for them. So as part of the TechGirlz curriculum, if you decide to do this, there'll be a setup guide that talks about what you need to do ahead of time so that it follows with our slides. Right. Not to say you can't customize it. We do this all the time. We'll download a curriculum and we'll say, well, we don't want to set it up that way. But just, to get the first time is we provide that guidance.
Right.
And so here you can see we had, the channel, or the 3 channels, the 1 team. We walk them through the chat, show them how to start a conversation, reinforce how to mention somebody. We actually have, the other thing I didn't mention is when we use the Office Developer tenant, we load it with preloaded data. So we have users already set up. Microsoft provides a whole set of example users. So we just use all them, and they log in as different roles. One might be Adele, one is John Smith or Jane Doe. So it really makes it easy. We don't have to go and set up a bunch of users for different girls. We just use the sample the demo data that Microsoft provides to us.
Right.
We'll talk about the different places where they'll see the @mentions. So if we in this example, we @mentioned the food team. There's a little alert. Hey, there's a mention in the weekly menu channel. We look at the activity feed, and we can see that someone posted, welcome to the weekly menu. So this is one of our presenters, Tracy, who said that she was the superintendent, and she's welcoming to it and giving them sort of their instructions. We take them back to the teams, and we make sure they're in. One of the problems we ran into was they were kind of losing their context. If they were on the wrong team, or if they were on the wrong channel, like, wait, I was just looking at it. And we did point out that there is some navigation capabilities. You can use the little up here to kind of switch to the, define your place. So it is a bit of a learning exercise for everyone. As you see someone else use it, you don't think about the stuff that you do automatically. Down here, we finally say, all right, let's get into it. Let's get into the collaboration of a Word document using Teams. And we actually did this. We do it as a TechGirlz workshop, but we also did it for a group of adults as part of a coffee talk one morning for the NMTC. And the adults were excited, and I want to use the word flabbergasted. They didn't realize the co-authoring portion of this. Really, they were like, whoa, we got to have this now. And we're like,
That's a big thing. Like what I had internship with Smithsonian last past summer, and they were using Teams, but mostly for conference calls and not really for the collaboration aspect. And I think that's what they're missing about it. That's the best part of Teams, that you get to easily work on the same document.
It's like a Swiss Army knife, and there's so many things. If you're just using the knife portion, you're missing the rest. This collaboration, and people wanted it and needed it, and they didn't even know it was there. And that's the cool thing. Right. So we take the girls through this. We go in there and we click the navigation, and we show them literally, editing one of the existing Word documents and typing in there. And we explain how when someone else is working on it, you'll see a little icon that shows where they're working in the document. So you can avoid some of those, you don't want to write entree if someone else is writing entree. So you can see where everyone else is at using the collaboration utility. Here you can see, again, where people are working. You can look in the activity to see if anyone mentioned you. There's a conversation window right beside the document, so that's great for when you want to say, in this example, what did we ask for? Oh, the superintendent said it's Meatless Monday, so we had put up a couple of meat items, and now they both have to be vegetarian, right? And said no red meat. Oh, so someone asked for clarification, and so we were allowed to have pork, I guess, and chicken, just not red meat for Meatless Monday. But again, we used it. So as we're building the menu, we use the conversation window to get that feedback, which is great, real-time feedback. Then we started building the menu, and so in this example, we added, looks like tuna fish. Yeah, we're adding some tuna fish, which, by the way, why do they call it tuna fish? Isn't tuna always a fish? Is there tuna dog or tuna cat? Why tuna fish? It's the only fish that you have to say tuna fish.
Never thought about that.
You don't say salmon fish.
You're
okay,
right.
I'm sorry. I digress. Anyway, so we added the tuna. That's when we turn it out to them. Now we're going to see if we can do a real live hands-on demo, and Sarah and I are going to both. I'll be I'll be Group A working on entrees. You be Group B working on sides. Let's do it. Let's go in here. So
I'm gonna slide over here to my device, but you should still be seeing what I will be editing because we'll both be in the same document.
And while she slides over, I'm going to slide over to my team. So here I am. And one of the things we do for the train the trainer aspect of this is we like to use incognito or private windows so that I'm not confusing, so I can use my demo tenant and not getting it confused with my actual work tenant. Keep it, using a private window or incognito window keeps it nice and tidy that, this is a different tenant for Teams, and this is my TechGirlz tenant. So I'm in here in the TechGirlz tenant, and we show the girls, we'll talk again, just like I did in the slides. They click on Teams, we click on the Foom Teams. Hey, Sarah mentioned me. What is Sarah talking about me? So let's go see.
So I just put in the Teams chat, I added my dad's name. So to let him know that I'm going to start working on the menu. Let's do it together.
I'll reply. Sounds good. Oh, if I could type. Right. So which one are we working on? Let me ask you which one we're working on. Which one? Because we got one for Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. So this way we can, get on the same page.
So now on my end.
She's going to respond and pick one.
Yeah. And just to really let him know, I'm going to actually attach it.
Oh, that way I won't even have to go navigate for it.
Right.
So
he could go under Files, which is right next to Posts at the top, and go find it. But I should have sent it.
So while that's sending, I'll click and show you where she's talking. So if I knew where it was, I could click on Files and click on whichever one we're working on. While we got a send error over there, so we'll have to hit refresh. But I'll go ahead and we'll go over to the file. So we agreed to work on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right?
So I was just trying to show how, in the past demo, you could send it right in the chat.
Right. And we saw that in some of the previous conversations. But let's go right into the Wednesday. I want to get to the collaboration or the co-authoring. So here we are on the document. And now I'm going to go into the Wednesday menu. And looks like we got 2 entrees, but we had to have one vegetarian. So I've got a problem here.
All right,
so I'm going to ask Sarah to remove the spaghetti. So I'm going to go over here to the conversation and say, remove the spaghetti, please. I don't know how to spell spaghetti, so I'll just abbreviate.
So now I got the notification on my end. I'll let you know that I am on it. So now you should see my icon on the screen. You see my little initials on the spaghetti.
Yeah, see over here. Now, 2 things. One, I gave her a thumbs up. I didn't feel like typing thank you. And then the other thing is you can see over here where she's working. So I know to stay away from that. If I want to come down here and do something with this, I can come in here and type, hot, boneless. Maybe we're going to have cold wings. So I can change this to cold. While I'm changing this to cold, if I could spell, back up there, and I can see Sarah still working on removing the spaghetti. Oh, it's gone. Look at that. She's up there. She's gotten rid of the spaghetti. Oh, she's going to do vegan tacos. That's an excellent idea. That's how I'm getting hungry.
I know, right?
Yeah, vegan tacos. Maybe with tofu or something.
Yeah.
Hot sauce.
Yeah.
Frank's Red Hot.
Yeah.
All right. So Sarah's searching for an image. She's going to go find us a good taco image.
Yeah. So just like in Word, I'm just going to insert and then picture, and then looking up pictures of these.
While she's doing that, I'm giving her some feedback on here. I'm telling her that it was a great idea, and that maybe I'll put a little love symbol because I like it. If I wanted to, I could do one of those GIFs that she talked about. Do that. Give her some real cool feedback there that I'm really happy about the tacos.
Right. That's a funny GIF. I like that. So just picking the.
Make sure you get a good one, not one of those Taco Bell tacos.
I know, right?
That's not really a taco.
It's gotta look good.
Yes, I want a real good looking taco.
All right. How about this
you
one?
Can see it loading. It's coming. The big picture is taking a minute to load. There it is. Oh man, that looks like a authentic Mexican taco. I am excited. Again, I'll come over here and just kind of convey that, you know, I'm really happy with that. All right, but I mean, that's it in a nutshell. That's us. We walk the girls through this. We have them work together. You know, one person's in entrees, another person's in sides, another person. We have different groups, which are really teams, but we try to call them groups to not confuse the terminology. But we have one. Now we've had issues. We had one situation where one of the beverages group accidentally hit, you know, Control A and delete, and everything was gone. Or actually, if they did it outside here, right? Or they deleted, you know, something they shouldn't have deleted, and the girl, oh my gosh, I lost everything. One of the teams says, where did it all go? This is real. This is real world. This can happen in the real world. Luckily, Control Z is our friend. We're on SharePoint. It's being backed by SharePoint Online. It's auto saving in SharePoint Online. It's got versioning turned on in there, SharePoint Online. So we have all that benefit. So we're not too worried about disaster striking with this collaboration going on. The girls found this, I thought, I mean, tell me what you think, Sarah. I thought they picked this up pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they were, you know, in fact, let's look at some of the other things that they did. If we go back here to the teams.
Yeah, another thing I wanted to know is this is where we have the menus already set up for them. We kind of already had a template of like a table and things just to make it a little easier. Sure, you can have them make it themselves, but just for like our first couple of runs, we wanted to set it up for them. Yeah,
so as a trainer, or as you're setting this up, you need to create your own document. Sarah, can you show us how you would create a new document?
Sure. So under this Files tab here, this is where we hit New and simply Word document, and that's where we give it a name. So we're going to have our day of the week.
Do we have Sunday? We don't have Sunday, do we?
For maybe
Sunday school.
Sunday school.
Yes.
Our Sunday menu. And then it opens up a new document for you. And that's where you can edit it. So now it's already in that folder with the rest.
So no download, don't need Word installed on the computer. Nope. It's using Word Online. It's stored in SharePoint automatically.
Already saved.
Now, so here's a good question. Where's it stored at? Let's find out, because people have asked me that. If we go back to our teams, we've got all of these files, and people don't think they're in SharePoint. And I get why they don't think that, because they don't see SharePoint anywhere. But look over here. If I click this little ellipsis, open in SharePoint, it's hiding. There it is. Let's click that. This is actually backed by SharePoint. It's not Teams versus SharePoint. They're in the same family. Here's those documents. There's the one that Sarah just created Sunday, even though we're logged in as me. This is in, guess what? A folder. Oh, I thought folders were bad. Folders are not bad, folks. I'm here to blow your mind. Folders are okay in used judicious.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't abuse them.
Don't abuse them. Don't put folders inside of folders inside of folders. That's bad. Yeah. But you can have a couple of folders. Microsoft Teams uses folders to store each channel. So if I go up a level, I'm going to click on Documents for a second. You'll see there's a bake sale folder. There's a general folder. There's a weekly menu folder. Where do those folders come from? Jump over here. It's the channels in this team. General, bake sale, week. Right. So it's using SharePoint. These channels are folders. Unless, by the way, another quick tip, it's a private channel. A private channel means not all the team members can get access to it, so we can't just create a folder. It actually does its own site. I think it's its own site collection for security purposes. So that's just, you know, if you do a private channel and then you go look there, you're not going to see it. They put it elsewhere. So yeah, SharePoint, when we create these files, they're up on SharePoint. And again, the easiest way to go see that is when you're in the Files menu, just click the ellipsis, open in SharePoint, and you'll see what we're talking about. So we showed you how to create the menu. We showed you how to create a new document when you're setting this up. We showed you some of the, so Sarah did an insert picture, but she did it on her computer. Sarah, show us on this computer so the folks can see how you would insert a picture.
So like I said, but you probably didn't see, I'll just under insert and a picture. And then I simply just binged a picture from the internet. And what should we do this time? Let's do let's see what they got here. Animals.
Oh, let's do a cat.
Let's do a cat?
Yeah, kid.
Oh, what about tiger?
Oh, tiger.
Isn't that what's big right now? Tiger
Everybody's
King?
watching about the tiger. There's some show about it.
I haven't watched it yet, so don't give me any spoilers. Right. But yeah, as simple as that.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't take much to set these up.
No, not
even though we did that for the girls, we're thinking of having like an advanced level where we actually do have some of the ladies do it from scratch. We thought that would be useful. We focus on the collaboration. There might be some, well, as I mentioned, the bake sale. So if we get to a situation where they decide that they've done the menus and now they want to move on, we give them another activity to do the bake sale, where they come into a bake sale and do a whole nother menu, and we kind of open it up and say, all right, now you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And it really let their imagination go wild.
Yeah, a little bit more freedom this time, now that they've warmed up to how to use it.
Let's see, I think we even have that in our, right, here's where we have the first activity. Then we asked them to talk about, what they did and what they liked, what they didn't like.
Yeah, we think about sharing like what they worked on and like how
a little presentation.
On it. Right. Yeah.
And they love that too, by the way.
Yeah, they also get like prizes and stuff.
Yes.
And snacks and pizza.
Snacks and pizzas. And then if they want to keep working and we still have time left in our slot, we'll actually give them the opportunity to do that extra credit where they can create a whole nother flyer. And you'd be surprised how many times they take us up on that.
They do.
They want to keep working. We actually have to kick them out. It's like, time's up. We got to go. Pizza's gone.
Yeah, a lot of girls, like we said before, we usually have these accounts set up for them to make it easier. But some girls are like, I want to save my work. And then we got to sit with them and figure out how to get their work to them because they want to work on it later.
That's the workshop. We walked you through some of the materials that we provide. We walked you through some of the steps that the trainer would have to do. We've given you the site, techgirl.org/volunteer, if you want to sign up yourself and see, participate in some other ones that are already going out there, which I highly recommend to kind of get the lay of the land and see what they're doing. One of the things that we talked about is that as we're learning, or as we're teaching the girls, we actually learn ourselves. And we picked up a bunch of tips and tricks about Teams that we didn't even mean to, just because of the way we're using it in these workshops. So we learned things like following people. So you can go into Teams and you can say, hey, I want to follow. You click on your contacts and say, hey, I want to follow this person. What I found out is if I follow like 10 or 20 people, if I disconnect and reconnect, like go into airplane mode, I'll get a quick list of all those people. It'll show me
online.
Yes, they say these people are online. These are I didn't see Bob. I guess Bob's not online. So I do that a lot. I actually would just airplane mode, and then everyone I follow that's online will show up.
Yeah.
Syncing your files again for offline. If you jump, well, not many people are jumping on planes anymore, but when we used to jump on airplanes, in OneDrive, because it is SharePoint, we could use OneDrive to then give us offline access to sync the files to our C drive, and then we can get on a plane and don't have to worry about the Wi-Fi. We showed you the SharePoint integration and the folders for channels. That's something we picked up during these workshops. There's a bunch of slash commands. If you guys aren't familiar with that, I'll show you that real quick. When you go out to Teams, you can do things like a test call. And we love this just to kind of give girls an idea. If you do a test call, it'll do what's called the echo. Right, so here's all the commands. I said test call, but it's where's test call at? It might not be in the web-based. Yeah, some of these commands are only in the download app, so test call is not in the web-based version, but you can see some of the other commands. So these were really helpful, and we didn't know about a lot of these until we got it. Some girls were asking, hey, what's this? Hey, what's that? We're like, oh, do not disturb. I didn't realize that was a command. Right. So it gives you that opportunity to eat your own dog food, learn the tool. That's what Microsoft calls it. When you use the tool, you learn the tool.
I learn something new every time.
Every time. Every time. What are some of the other tips and tricks? The navigation, even in the desktop app, you can zoom in and out using Control Plus and Control Minus, channel settings, going in and configuring the channels for different settings. And then, as we talked about, the multi-editing features, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Now, we did run into some issues. These are some of the issues. We found out we could create the same channel name.
Definitely confusing.
It was confusing to have duplicate. Under the covers, it was different names. It put like a 1. So we had TechGirlz, and then we had TechGirlz 1. In Teams, it said just TechGirlz, but in SharePoint, you saw that it had a 1. So that kind of threw us for a loop.
They already had trouble navigating between the channels.
So we were careful about
that.
So just finding teams sometimes was difficult. If you had a lot of teams, you would only see teams that you were either a member of or were public. If you had hidden teams, it wasn't really easy to discover them. No regular user view was an issue where before we got our demo tenant, we were trying to use our own tenant, and it was hard because I was an admin, but I wanted to see how it looked as a regular user, and I didn't have 2 users to do. But now that we have that demo tenant with those demo users, it's much easier. We can log in as any of those users, as one of the admins, as one of the non-admins, so that really helped. Recorded meetings require login. That's just how it is. Sometimes searching for a user was not intuitive.
Yes, we just experienced
We just looked at this today when we were testing everything out. We added Sarah, and then I typed SARAH, and it said user not found. But then I added EP,
which is just more my email name.
Then you showed up.
Which That doesn't make sense.
So, you know, Teams, it's great. We love it, but there's still those little things that, you know,
just things.
So if you're searching for a user and you don't find them, that may not be that they're not there. You just maybe have to type some more information.
Yeah, a little more specific.
But overall, we really enjoy Teams. We have a lot of fun. The girls seem to enjoy it. They seem to. Our overall goal is to inspire them to be excited about technology, and I think this workshop helps us do that.
Absolutely, this is like real world things that they can work on in the future, and by having those real world things of example, and also our team, other than you, is all ladies.
Yes, good
so they are super comfortable around us, even with you too, because you're the pizza guy.
Yeah, right. I got to bribe you.
Right. So they're really great about asking questions, even talking to us. I've had girls that raise their hand, I come over, they're like, look, and I'm like, that's awesome.
And it doesn't hurt that we give them prizes. In fact, we have some of the prizes that are available for you guys. So if you're watching this live, for those of you who are watching this on the recording, sorry, we're probably giving out the prizes by then. But for those of you who are joined us live, look at what we have. We have some cool TechGirl hats, the same ones we give out to the girls during the workshop.
Yes, and these are actually really nice hats. You can adjust them, so good for any head size. Really nice quality, actually. Okay.
So how do you get those prizes, Sarah?
So you can see this little QR code here. If you have a smartphone, which I'm assuming that most of you do, you just open up to your camera and hold it in front of the QR code. And then I'm not sure if you can see this, but there'll be a little drop down at the top of your screen. You click on that and it'll go right to the form to fill out. And then when you fill out the form, we're going to pick a couple winners.
And if you don't have a smartphone or you can't read the code, we do have the link down here as well. I think the code's really cool, but we also have the link. So if you click on that link, I'll show you what it comes up with. It comes up with a little Microsoft Forms form, and you fill out the information. There's a couple of quiz questions. A pop quiz, woohoo!
You're paying attention.
Yes, I had to pay attention. I had to be watching.
I'm a student, and you're
I'm a professor, so it's a pop quiz.
Right.
But fill that out. We'll take a look at that later tonight, and we're going to email a few winners. 3 winners. We got 3 hats. We'll snail mail you the hat, but it'll be cool. And then we'll ask you to tweet a picture of yourself with the hat. Where would you tweet that picture at? Either Sarah E. Patrick or David E. Patrick.
Both of us, and TechGirlz too.
And don't forget, thanks, sponsors. We really appreciate the support. We really had a blast doing this. If we couldn't do this without them. Thank you guys for watching. We hope you got something out of it. Take care. We love it. If you have any questions, we're still watching the Q&A. I think this wraps it up for today. Russ,
yeah.
I think we were he saved the best for last.
Oh, really?
Yes. We saved the best for last.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That was a fantastic job. I appreciate it. I know everybody learned something from it. Just appreciate it very much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And feel free, if you think of a question later, feel free to tweet at either one of us with your questions.
Sounds good. All right, folks. So as David and Pat, David and it's been a long day already.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
All right. So as David and Sarah mentioned, this is the last session for today, but we are right back here tomorrow and again on Friday with more Teams Mania. Tomorrow, we've actually got 2 full tracks, both of a business track and a IT pro track. And total, there looks like there's about 15 sessions running tomorrow. A bunch from MVPs and covering everything from, deep dives into user adoption to notifications to, just work from home ideas with Teams. So please be back here and join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. We have all the connection information is out on the website at modernworkplacesummits.com/sessions, and all the details are there. So look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow. Thank you so much. David and Sarah, thank you again. Have a great night. Take care, everyone.